Right, so the first round of 32 game is decided. Canada against South Africa. And at first glance, be honest, this is probably not the game most people were waiting for. It's not Brazil against Germany. It's not France against Argentina. It's not one of those matches where everyone immediately starts screaming about legacy, revenge, history, destiny, all that dramatic nonsense. But honestly, this one is interesting. Really interesting, because this is not just a knockout game. This is two teams looking at the bracket and thinking the exact same thing. Hang on, we can actually reach the last 16 here. And that changes everything. Canada are through to the knockout stage for the first time. Massive moment, huge achievement, no question. But the feeling around Canada is probably a little bit strange. Because yes, they are through, brilliant. But they also had a chance to win the group. They had a chance to stay in Canada. They had a chance to keep that home energy, that crowd, that feeling that the tournament was building around them. And then they lost to Switzerland. So now, instead of going into the knockouts as group winners, full of control and confidence, they're going to Los Angeles to play South Africa. And suddenly, this becomes a different kind of pressure. Because Canada will look at this match and think, we should win this. And that is where football starts being annoying. Because the second you start thinking you should win a World Cup knockout match, the game has a funny way of slapping you in the face. South Africa, meanwhile, are in a completely different emotional place. They beat South Korea 1-0. They finished second in the group behind Mexico. And they got through by doing what they seem to do best. Staying organized, suffering when they have to, defending properly, and waiting for their moment. They are not here to win the possession trophy. They are not here to impress tactical Twitter with lovely little triangles on the halfway line. They are here to make the game horrible, compact, physical, awkward, annoying, and in knockout football that can be a proper weapon. So the story of this match is not just Canada have more quality, the story is Canada have the tools to win the match. South Africa have the tools to ruin the match. And sometimes ruining the match is the first step to winning it. Now, when you look at Canada across the group stage, their identity is pretty clear. Canada are at their best when the game has energy, when it has speed, when it has space, when they can attack quickly, run into channels, use their wide players, and turn the match into something stretched and emotional. That is where they look dangerous. Against Qatar, they got exactly that type of game. Open spaces, poor defensive structure, a team that could not handle the tempo. And Canada absolutely punished them. But then you look at the Switzerland game, and that was a very different test. Switzerland were more organized, more controlled, more tactically mature. They did not just give Canada the space they wanted. And Canada struggled to find the same rhythm. That is the question with Canada. They are dangerous when the game opens up. But can they control a knockout match when the opponent says, no, we are not giving you space. Go on then. Break us down. Because that is a very different job. It is one thing to run at a defense that is already stretched. It is another thing to move a compact block side to side again and again, without losing patience. And that is where Canada have to be careful. They need to play fast, but they cannot play rushed. And there is a difference. Fast football is dangerous. Rushed football is just giving the ball away with enthusiasm. South Africa will know that. They will want Canada to rush. They will want Canada to get impatient. They will want the fullbacks pushing higher and higher. They will want the midfield forcing passes that are not really on. They will want Canada to start crossing from bad positions because they have run out of ideas. And if Canada start doing that after 30 minutes, lovely. That is exactly the game South Africa want. Because South Africa's group stage tells you something important as well. They are not a team built around dominating the ball for long spells. They are more about structure, distances, second balls, defensive discipline, transitions, moments. Against Mexico, they had problems. Discipline was a problem. They lost control emotionally, and that hurts them. Against Czechia, they stayed alive. And against South Korea, they got the result they needed. That South Korea game matters, because South Africa showed they can sit in a match, absorb pressure, and still find the one moment that decides it. That is not beautiful football, but it is knockout football, and there is a difference. In knockout football, nobody gives you a trophy for having 62% possession and looking tidy. If you lose 1-0, you lose 1-0. That's it. Thanks for coming. So South Africa's plan against Canada should be quite clear. They do not need to go toe-to-toe with Canada in an open game. That would be brave. And by brave, I mean probably stupid. Their job is to make Canada uncomfortable, stay compact, protect the middle, force Canada wide, double up on the wingers, make Canada pass around the outside, win the first contact, win the second ball, slow the game down when they need to, and then, when Canada lose the ball and their fullbacks are high, attack the space behind them. That is where South Africa can hurt Canada. They do not need 15 chances. They need one bad rest defense structure, one loose pass, one center-back dragged out wide, one runner attacking the channel, and suddenly Canada are sprinting back towards their own goal thinking, yeah, maybe this wasn't supposed to be easy. That is the tactical battle. Canada's speed against South Africa's block. Canada wants space. South Africa want to remove space. Canada want rhythm. South Africa want friction. Canada want the game to breathe. South Africa want to put a pillow over its face. And that is why the first goal is massive. If Canada score first, the match opens up. South Africa have to come out. They cannot just sit in their shape and wait. They have to chase, they have to take risks, they have to leave more space. And that suits Canada. That becomes the match Canada wants. More running, more transitions, more wide attacks, more chaos. But if South Africa score first, completely different story. Then Canada have to break them down properly. South Africa can sit deeper, they can slow the match, they can foul when they need to, they can kill rhythm, they can take time on set pieces, they can turn the whole thing into one of those horrible knockout games where every attack starts feeling heavier than the last. And honestly, Canada do not want that, because the pressure is on Canada here. That might sound strange, because South Africa are also in a historic position, but Canada are one of the host nations. They have the bigger expectation, they have the bigger names, they have the feeling that this tournament could become a national moment. South Africa can play with a bit more freedom. They can look at this and think, nobody expected us here anyway. And that matters, especially if the game is still 0-0 after an hour. That is when the match starts changing. Canada starts thinking, the crowd starts getting nervous, the players start forcing one more pass, one more shot from a silly angle, one more cross into a packed box. And South Africa will look at that and think, lovely, now we've got a game. So for Canada, the key is patience with speed. That sounds like a contradiction, but it is not. They need to move the ball quickly without losing control. They need to switch play. They need to create overloads. They need to isolate South Africa's fullbacks. They need to make South Africa defend while moving, not just stand in shape and head crosses away. Because if South Africa are allowed to just sit in their block, slide across, and defend the box, they will be fine. Canada have to make them move, make them turn, make them tackle facing their own goal, make them defend wide spaces. And this is important because South Africa's discipline has already been a question in this tournament. If Canada can get at them early, force recovery tackles, force yellow cards, then South Africa's defensive aggression becomes harder to maintain. You cannot defend with the same bite when 2 or 3 players are walking around thinking, one more tackle and I'm finished. So Canada need to attack that, not just with pace, with intelligence, run at the right players, attack the booked players, drag the center-backs into uncomfortable zones, make the midfield chase. Do not let South Africa defend calmly. Because if South Africa defend calmly, this becomes a problem. Now South Africa's big chance is to make the match mentally heavy. They need to make Canada feel the occasion. They need to get through the first 20 minutes. That is massive. Because Canada will probably come out fast. They will want to make a statement. They will want to show they are the better team. They will want to turn the match into a wave. South Africa have to survive that wave. If they get through it, the game starts to settle. And once it settles, South Africa can start asking questions. Can Canada break down a compact team? Can Canada stay calm? Can Canada manage the game if it does not go their way? Can Canada avoid getting dragged into a street fight? Because that is what South Africa will want. A street fight with tactics, not chaos for the sake of chaos. Controlled chaos, ugly moments, set pieces, transitions, duels, long spells where Canada have the ball but do not really hurt them. That is South Africa's route. So when people say Canada should win, I understand it. I probably agree with it. Canada have more attacking quality, they have more pace, they have more ways to hurt you in open space. And if they score early, I can see this becoming a Canada win without too much drama. Maybe 2-0. Maybe they get the first goal, South Africa have to open up, and Canada punish them. But if Canada do not score early, That is where it gets interesting. Because South Africa are not a team you want to let grow into a knockout match. The longer it stays level, the more dangerous they become. Not because they suddenly become Spain in 2010, let's calm down, but because their belief grows, their defensive structure grows, Canada's frustration grows, and the match slowly starts moving away from Canada's ideal scenario. So my early prediction is still Canada 2-1 South Africa. But I am not saying that with full confidence like this is some easy casual win. No, Canada should win if they manage the game properly. Big difference. If they play with speed, patience and control, they have enough quality to go through. But if they rush, if they get frustrated, if they leave transition spaces, if they let South Africa turn this into a tight, physical, uncomfortable knockout match, then this becomes a proper problem. And if South Africa score first, forget the names, forget the rankings, forget the nice clean bracket predictions, then Canada are in a fight, a real one. Because Canada have the better tools, but South Africa may have the better knockout game personality. And that is why this match is much more dangerous than it looks.